This production stuff is quite fun. We're actually going live on every channel today. We're going live on Instagram. We're going live on Substack and every other place that you could possibly think of. Let's see here. We are going live. We're now live on Instagram. We're live on Substack. We're live on LinkedIn. We're going to be on Apple and Spotify and Amazon and everywhere else you get your podcasts. So do me a favor. Before we even start, I want to make sure that you're subscribed to the channels, whether it be YouTube or Spotify or Apple or all of them. Go to our Substack also. It really means a lot. And also too, just you subscribing, that supports the podcast. So I just want to thank you guys so much for all that you're doing. Happy 4th of July to you. Today, I got a chance to be able to wake up this morning and go down to the beach. I got to spend some time with God this morning early, and then I got to walk the dogs, and then I got to go down to the beach and go for a walk. And obviously, on this amazing day, 250th anniversary of our country, freedom was the tagline that I kept hearing, and I was seeing people ride down to the beach early and plant their seats down there and have flags and all these things. And so as I sat down with my time with God this morning, I just wrote down, like, what is freedom? And, how do I get it? How do I define it? And he gave me an answer that I wasn't really prepared for. He didn't answer the question right off the bat. He asked me what I was thankful for. And so I started to write out all the things I was thankful for: my kids, my wife, my family, my job and my work, and the people around me, and the things that I get to get a chance to be able to do, the people that I'm around. And I listed off all these things, and then he was like, what about the bad decisions? Are you thankful for those? What about the bad timing that you had? Are you thankful for those? What about the bad, situations that you've got yourself into? You thankful for those? Because I've bailed you out of all of them. And it turned into, at first I was like, well, God, I was here to spend some time with you. I thought this was going to be all wrapped up in love, but he was helping me to understand that there's so many things that I had made a bad decision. I had bad timing. I thought this was the best thing, and he bailed me out anyway. And then he followed up with, that true freedom was simply listening and paying attention to him. And what he let me know was that listening was free and paying attention came at a cost. And so as I sat down, I wrote out, and I'll read to you. I'm going to do a combination of reading to you from things, and I'm going to, speak from my heart, because these are the things that as I wrote, that God really brought clear to me. But I heard my pops' voice. He said, boy, you better pay attention. This is something my pops would always say, but he would say it in this way: boy, you better pay attention. And if you ever met my pops, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know his tone. If you didn't, that was exactly his tone. And, my pops and I, my wife and I had just signed on our salon in Chicago. This was right after we had got married, and, she was 7.5 months pregnant. And my pops and I visited the Chicago location, and we were walking away from, if you know Chicago and Wicker Park and Bucktown, we were walking away from the Six Corners, which is North Milwaukee and Damon. And we were walking down North Avenue right towards our location. And it was just being built, and my pops was so excited. He's an overly positive guy anyway, if you ever got a chance to meet him. But he was overly, crazy positive this day. And I was thinking, he's being pops. That's what he's being. But as we walked down the street, he was enthralled with the neighborhood. I could see him taking it all in, and pops was always positive, like I was saying, but this time he was turned all the way up. He told me that this city, this neighborhood, this location was going to be something at a level I had never experienced. When we arrived at our location, he observed the 1,100 square foot empty business And he got even more excited. He told me that I better get ready because the energy that was on the way was going to blow the windows out. All I could see at the time was an empty business with so much work to do, a team that needed to be built, a clientele that needed to be found, and a brand that needed to be established in a city where we were a complete unknown. So when my pops told me to accept the success of something that I could not see, it was tough to listen to, let alone pay attention to. But stick around with this episode, and you will see that my pops was right yet again. Proverbs 4 calls for us to listen and pay attention and shows us how foolish it is not to. So why don't we get this party started?
Yeah. And this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small grooves into launch pad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad flights. Grew up on base where the bike ties hum. Crestview dunk ball, rubber band wars young. Trees we climbed stood tall like the dreams we slung. Sun on our backs, whole world on our tongues. Then boom, light flip, tight walls, no space. 5 deep in one room, but we kept our pace. Me and Rob laughed loud just to soften the weight. Didn't know what we lacked, cause the love was great. Mama spoke life like a prophet on fire. Pop said greatest, made the standard high. Didn't see it then through the thin wall grind, but the words took root in the back of our mind. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launch pad lights. Yeah, this the vibe.
I had to sit and listen to that for a little bit. I don't let it run very often, the whole entire song, but and that wasn't even the whole song, but I wanted you guys to listen to it, to feel it, because that is the story of my life. I wrote the song and had it produced, and I tell you, it means the world to me, that song itself. And not only it wraps up as far as what this project is and the vibe, here on the podcast, but also the vibe report that's on Substack and everything that we put out. It's not the energy you bring into the room, but the way that people feel when you leave. And I hope when you leave this, this episode or a vibe report from Substack or a post on Instagram or LinkedIn or any of those things, that you feel absolutely lifted up and amazing. I felt that way this morning because I actually workshopped this morning, and I would suggest that you do this. You have a friend I have a great friend, one of my best in James Dixon, and I reached out to him today and I said, can I share something with you? And he said yes, and we got a chance to be able to talk. We talked for almost an hour, but I thought that I was going to workshop just something with him, but he blessed me with the story of, his cousin Fifi, and it was, I don't even know if I'll do it justice. I don't think that I'll do it complete justice, but he said that he had his cousin reach out to him, and James has been very, very successful, especially he's been successful throughout his whole entire life, but he's been tremendously blessed in the last couple of years. And when those things happen, a lot of times people come out of the woodwork and they want things from you. So he's got almost kind of guarded a little bit at times because people that maybe have been in his life have found out that success has come, or there's been blessing, and then they just want to they want it from him. And he got a call from his cousin, and his cousin said, can I share something with you? And, she is a woman who, again, I'm probably going to kill some of the details on this story, but it hit my heart so strong. Her granddaughter was murdered. Her son, her dad. There was many people in her life that there's tragedy that struck, and it's happened in the last couple of years. And Fifi has worked at White Castle for 13 years and has finally become the manager. And she's been paying her car payment, every week as opposed to every month. And she's been paying her rent. She pays it every week. And she's been struggling at times. And she called James, and and she said, I got a call the other day from the the bank that has that I have the loan for my car, and they said that, there's only $86 left until I actually pay the car off. And James right away thought in his head, and he said to her right away, "Hey, I'll send you the money, cousin." And she said, no, I want to pay this myself. And she was so excited, and she was so, taken back by the fact that it was only $86 away until she owned her first car, and it was going to be in her name. And, she was thinking about these things. And what James was helping me to understand is here's a woman who's worked at White Castle for 13 years, busted her butt, had so many different tragedies happen in her life, and, finances had not gone always her way. And here she was screaming out at the top of her lungs in joy because she had the opportunity to be able to pay $86 more, and she was going to own her car. And it helped me to think about all the things that I've been crying out to God about lately. And I've been crying out because of my circumstances, or I've been saying, "Hey, God, if you just do this." And here's Fifi being so excited and thankful and grateful that she has the opportunity to pay $86, and she has that $86 to be able to pay it because of a job that she's been at for 13 years in White Castle, and she's become the manager of that, and they trust her with the keys. Sometimes we need stories like that from James to put in perspective our own lives. And as I sat today and, I heard my pops, "Pay attention, boy." I looked at the situation that we were in Chicago, and I couldn't see past my circumstances. All I could see was the team that I needed to build, the clientele that we needed to have, the brand that we needed to establish in a town that we were complete unknowns in Chicago. But my pops could see something different. He could see something that was on a completely different level. He could see something through God's eyes as opposed to through circumstances' eyes. And he helped me, not at that time, but at this time, right now, today. This is probably almost 20 years later. To look back on it is actually 18 years later. No. It was, 18 years later. And for me to learn the lesson 18 years later, because at the time, all I could see was all the things that I didn't have here, but my pops could see that what was coming. And he couldn't see what was coming because of the circumstance, because like God was asking him to walk on blind faith. But my pops came from a family of 7 kids. And they had a cabin with a 1-bedroom in Ophir, Utah, with no hot running water. And he brought my pops from that to the life that he provided for our family. And he did it faith to faith and glory to glory each and every time that he did and he delivered. Then he had my pops look back and say, "I've brought you this far. I didn't bring you this far to be able to drop you off." And he gave him proof all the way through if he would stop and look at it. And so today, as I sat, I realized that God wasn't calling me to faith, and my pops wasn't telling me to pay attention to something that was a pipe dream. He was asking me to pay attention to all the blessings that had come to get me to the place where we had the opportunity to be able to build in Chicago. And he was saying, if he's already done that, imagine what he can do, but stay focused on all the things that are on the way, son. Don't get bogged down by the things that you don't have. In Proverbs 4, it's wild because it was written 3,000 years ago. And 3,000 years ago, that message was written for me to be able to accept it today, because God calls out for us to listen and to pay attention, and he shows us how foolish it is not to. And so with the book, if you're watching on Instagram, you can see the book that's got the link there. And it's a journal that will take you through 90 days and the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. My friend Amanda Vega has started in on this, and she texts me all the time telling me how it started to shift things for her, because the word is first she's reading it, and now the word is starting to read her. And she's reading the same, Proverbs 4 on the 4th of every single month, and it's reading different because her circumstances are different. But in Proverbs 4, it says right off the bat, listen and pay attention. See, listening is free, and paying attention comes at a cost, because your attention will cost you something. Listen and pay attention. And then it goes through in verse 2, and it talks about the value proposition and the value proposition of listening and paying attention to wisdom. And wisdom is the right use of knowledge, and it comes from only one place, and that's spending time with God. The value proposition of wisdom is undeniable. When you listen and you pay attention to God's wisdom, it's undeniable. Look back, look at the stats, check the receipts, however you want to say it. In verse 3, I never read it this way, but it hit me like a ton of bricks today. Your mama raised you, but she ain't going to save you. Your parents gave you the foundation, whether it was the exact right thing to do or the exact right thing not to do. Your parents gave you that foundation, but I learned a couple of years ago that I was going to spend most of my life, the majority of my life, without my parents. But they set me up to win, and they set me up to win by saying that they did. When I would ask them a question, they didn't know the answer, but they knew someone who did, and they would direct my eyes to the Lord. And what I want to do today is tell you that your mama raised you, your papa raised you, but she ain't coming to save you. There's one that'll come to save you, and that's God. And when you spend time with him, it's amazing what he can do in your life. You see, when you tap into God, when you tap into him, he will fill your heart with wisdom. Guard it at all costs. This is what my mom would say to me all the time. Guard your heart, guard your heart, guard your heart. But I didn't realize that she was telling me before she ever said that to fill my heart up with wisdom, and the only place to get wisdom was to spend time with the one who created you in the first place. At all costs, she would say, get wisdom and understanding and protect them with your full being. Never forget them, and they will protect you. Love them, and they will watch over you. The beginning of wisdom, this sounds redundant, is just this: get wisdom and get understanding. See, when you spend time with God, he's the beginning of all wisdom. When you spend time with God, he'll fill you up with love. He'll give you wisdom. That wisdom will give way to knowledge. Knowledge will give way to understanding. Understanding will bring insight. Insight will bring discretion. Discretion will bring discernment. Discernment will bring discipline. And discipline will bring strength, which will lead you right back to the place where you got the strength in the first place, which is spending time with him. It sounds so simple, yet it's not easy. But if we want true freedom in our life, we'll just spend time with him. And when we spend time with him, he'll ask us first to listen, and second, to pay attention. Listening leads to acceptance. So be conscious of what you listen to. I've been watching it lately because I've been on Instagram. I turned it off for a couple days, and I thought that I would just be like, I was going to go on a cleanse, and I turned off Instagram, and I turned off Facebook, and I turned off LinkedIn. But I turned it back on, just like we all do. And when I turned it on, it was amazing because I watched a full-length video of Steph Curry. And then the next video that popped up, guess what it was on my feed? Steph Curry. And then there was a shooting video with Steph Curry, and I sent it to my son because I love Steph Curry. I think he's one of my favorite, actually my favorite player to ever play the game. And I sent it to my son, and it was a shooting video. And then guess what popped up the next time on my scroll? Another shooting video. And then Klay Thompson came up, and I found out that Klay Thompson's going back to the Warriors, and we are so happy. But the more that I listened to things, the more that I accepted it, but the more I was fed that same thing. So just be conscious of what you listen to because it leads to acceptance. And honestly, now, like in my feed, it's all Steph Curry and it's all Klay Thompson, and it's reiterating why I believe so much in Steph Curry. But just be conscious of what you're listening to. Keep your path straight and your mind sober. To keep your path straight, right? If you want to have things straight, my pops would tell me, and it was from yesterday, Proverbs 3, 4 through 4 and 5, or 5 and 6, I think it is. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. Submit to him in all your ways, and he will make your path straight. To keep your path straight, if you want your path straight, then you got to submit. If you want to submit, you'll have to trust, or you'll have to lean. And if you lean, you'll have to trust first. So trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. Submit to him in all your ways, and he will make your path straight. And what it said in this is keep your path straight. If you want that, then you got to submit. And if you want to submit, you got to lean. And you won't lean before you ever trust. But if you want to trust, you got to listen and pay attention. So keep your mind sober. Doing the right thing will keep your path lit up. When you do the right thing, you'll always see the path, and you'll see it a little clearer, because doing the right thing will shine light. And when you're doing the wrong thing, you'll seem to be in the darkness and have a lot of question in those areas. Paying attention comes at a cost, although the return on the investment is exponential. James and I were just talking about investments. I have the opportunity. There's some investments that are coming, and I want to be discerning in this. I want to have discretion in it. I want to utilize those things. But imagine if you had a investment that you knew the return was exponential. And watch this when you pay attention, right? When you pay the cost of your attention and you put your attention on wisdom, which only comes from one source, the reward is exponential. Pay attention to God's instructions and fill your heart up with them. And then watch this, what my mom said, above all else, guard your heart, because everything flows from your heart. But be conscious of it, because the only way that something could get into your heart is through your eyes, through your ears, and through your senses. So above all, guard your heart, because everything flows from it. I got a chance to talk to Seagullville Federal Correctional Institution, the FCI there. And I got a chance to be able to speak to the staff, and we talked about speaking life, because it's mandatory in their scenario because of what they deal with on a day-to-day basis, the correctional officer. And I want to tell you how much you all mean to me. Seagullville, I love you. Seagullville FCI, I love you guys. Warden Pate, you are an incredible, incredible, incredible human being. And when I got a chance to speak to them, I said, you got to speak life. You see, I built a company, and it was voluntary that we spoke life to each other, and we did it every single Tuesday. We had 15 seconds to say somebody's name and something that inspired you about them. But I said to Seagullville correctional officers, I said to them, it's mandatory that you do it because of what you deal with on a day-to-day basis. You don't know if you're coming home to your family every single day. So it's imperative that you hear something positive that you did throughout the week and how you inspired someone. That will lift your spirits, because your spirits need to be lifted. When I got a chance to speak to the inmates, what I told them was what I'm telling you today, that above all else, guard your heart, because everything flows from it. I told everyone in all the inmates, 250 of them, and they were unreal. They prayed for me afterwards, and it made me feel like I almost felt a disservice, because I felt that I was there to minister to them and they were ministering to me. But what I started with is I told them we all got here by our words, and our words are an overflow of our heart. So that means that whatever you filled your heart up with came out your mouth. And when you start to talk about it, first it'll fill your mind, and then it'll flow through your mouth. But once you start to talk about something, then your feet start to move towards that direction, and then you find yourself in a place where your hands actually create action from that destination. And every one of us is in this room. That's what I told all the inmates. Every one of us is in this room because of our words. I get paid to travel around the country to speak to people, or I get paid here right now to be with you. But I said every one of you guys that is here in this prison is here because of your words. Your words are an overflow of your heart. But your mind was filled up with what was in your heart first. It flowed out your mouth. It caused you to move to a certain destination. And when you stood in that destination, your hands created actions that caused you to be in this place. So if you want to change your reality, you simply change your words, what you talk about. And if you want to do that, you got to change what your head is filled up with, which is an overflow of your heart, because it all stems from that. And if you want to start to change what goes into your what is in your heart, we got to change what you are seeing what you're hearing. And I invited them to start to read God's word, spend time with God's word, because then that'll fill up their heart and it'll ultimately affect their mind and their words and their destination and their actions. Above all else, guard your heart, because everything flows from it. I had no idea how much wisdom my mama was giving me at the time. Watch your mouth. This is what she would say to me. Keep your eyes focused and give careful thought to where you stand. Be steadfast in wisdom. Wisdom is the right use of knowledge, and it only comes from one place. I told you that I'm going to read and I'm going to do it, but I'm going to read to you right now, and I want to make sure that I am able to focus. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, or I don't think we're on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Substack, on YouTube, subscribe to all of them. Seriously, please do that. It helps the podcast as much as possible. And when you share it with someone, it helps the little algorithm and it pushes it out to more people. But I believe that so many people need to hear this message today. If you want to have true freedom in your life, then you'll listen and pay attention. Listening is free, but paying attention comes at a cost. Watch your mouth and keep your eyes focused. Give careful thought to where you stand and be steadfast in wisdom. And wisdom only comes from one place, and that's from spending time with God. And when you spend time with God, he'll give you wisdom, which is the right use of knowledge. Then he can bring knowledge into your life. Then he'll bring understanding, insight, discretion, discernment, discipline, strength, and he'll lead you right back to the fear of God. And when you start to fear God, it's literally taking the brakes off. See, walking in Wicker Park that day with my pops, I was so focused on all the things that I could not see. All right, let me say it again. I was so focused on all the things that I lacked that I could not see my circumstances through God's eyes. My pops' confidence came from knowing God's laws. He wasn't focused on all the things that had to be done. He was simply focused on the outcome that God promises when we first listen and pay attention to his word. When my pops told me that this Chicago location was going to be flooded with business and bursting with energy, and that it was going to make history, I struggled to envision what my pops could see so clearly. In true Pops fashion, that 1,100 square foot location became the most successful business that I ever opened. It produced $1.26 million a year with zero walk-in business, zero marketing dollars, and a 26% profit margin in an industry that has a national average of 5 to 6% profit. This was all done with 7 styling chairs, 4 chairs in our color bar, and 4 shampoo stations in our wash house. God does not ask us to listen and pay attention to pipe dreams. He simply asks us to have faith in something that has been proven and consistent and has consistent results that continually delivers exceedingly abundantly more than we can ever imagine. Although it's always our choice to listen and to pay attention and accept the freedom that he has provided for all of us. I struggle with what my pop said when we were walking to our Chicago location that day before the business had been built, because I was so focused on all those little circumstances. I was focused on what I lacked in that day. I was focused on all the things that I didn't have and all the work that I needed to do. But what my pops was doing is he was not only telling me to be present on that day and to pay attention, but he was prophesying, and he was helping me to understand, just like what I was talking to my brother James today. And James told me, he said, that lesson was not for that day. That lesson was for years and years later. And God was not asking me to walk blindly in faith. He was asking me to simply stop for a second and take stock in all the places that he had blessed me before. And if I looked back on all the places that he had blessed my life before, then I would have no question at all in believing him and walking in faith on this little thing that was in front of me at the time, because it paled in comparison to all the things that he had brought. And so what I invite you to do, and I implore you to do, is take a second and ask yourself what you're grateful for today. Fifi is grateful for an $86 bill that she has the opportunity to pay. Yet some of us are looking at the crazy circumstances that we think are crazy, that we think are insurmountable. And what God is saying is he's saying, just lock into me. I'm not asking you to blindly step out on the water. I'm saying step out on the water that I've already been standing on. You see, that faith that he's asking us to have is proven through the hope that he has created. And that hope was created because of the trust that he created. But that trust was created by us paying attention. And that paying attention came from us listening, but we got to be listening to the right source. And he's just saying, spend a little bit of time with me and I'll give you all the freedom to be able to be in this moment, because I'm going to take care of all of the rest. Matthew 6:33 says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all else will be added on. And this is what my pops would say to me all the time. And then he would follow it up. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all else will be added on. All else. And if it was all else, and all I had to do was spend time with him, then that would give me true freedom. Listen, pay attention. Don't seek the freedom. Just accept it. I hope you guys have a phenomenal day. I get a chance to be able to spend a happy 4th of July to all of you, every single one of you. And thank you for tuning in to the podcast, whether it be YouTube. We went live on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn right now. We're on Substack. All of those things. Make sure that you subscribe to them. Subscribe to them, share them with a friend. If somebody needs to hear the message, let them hear the message. If it was for you, I appreciate you. Dee Dee, I want to say thank you to you. You're incredible. Nikki, I want to say thank you to you. You're incredible. Mr. Wayne, supporting me from the very, 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 very beginning. My friend James, thank you so much. I love you more than anything. Rob, for believing in me very early about this podcast and what we were going to do, and the mission that we were on as we went along. So, I'm grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be in this amazing country, the greatest country in the whole entire world, and have the opportunity to do this, to have the freedom to be able to do this. Be conscious of what you listen to. Be conscious of what you pay attention to. Spend time with him. He'll give you ultimate freedom. The Vibe Room is on the way. It's loading. The Vibe Essentials are on the way also. We've been working on those. And I just want to thank you guys so much for allowing us to do this and be here with you. I love you more than you know. And my name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Yeah. And this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small grooves into launchpad flights. Yeah, this the vibe that raised us, made us, saved us. Love so strong that the hard times praised us. From base life roots to the freeway nights, we turn small rooms into launchpad flights. Grew up on base where the bike tires hum. Crestview dunk ball, rubber band wars young. Trees we climbed stood tall like the dreams we slung. Sun on our backs, whole world on our tongues. Then boom, light flip, tight walls, no space. 5 deep in one room, but we kept our pace. Me and Rob laughed loud just to soften the weight. Didn't know what we lacked, cause the love was great. Mama spoke life like a prophet.